In this video, we are going to talk about how to factor an algebraic expression through the technique of common factor. We are first going to start by looking at how many terms we have. In this case, we have two terms. We have the 6x squared separated by the minus sign. Then we have a 12x cubed. Now we're going to look at the coefficients of 6 and 12. And from there, we are trying to see what you can divide each of those numbers by. The biggest number we can divide each of them by is 6. So 6 I will factor to 6 times 1. And 12 I will factor to 6 times 2. Then we're going to break down x squared. X squared just means x times x. And x cubed just means x times x times x. Now that we have broken down this algebraic expression as much as we could, it is time to figure out what they have in common. And it should be very clear to see at this point that they have 6 in common. They also have an x in common and another x in common. So I can factor this now by putting 6, which they had in common, an x, which they had in common, and another x, which they had in common, right here in the first set of parentheses. And that is their common factor. On the second set of parentheses is what is left behind after I took that out. So you can clearly see what's not underlined is 1 minus 2x. And we have now factored that algebraic expression. Let's just simplify what we have. We have 6 times x, which means 6x squared. And we're just going to copy this. It cannot be simplified further. That's 1 minus 2x. And we are done factoring that algebraic expression. On the second example, we have a trinomial. We have 9x to the power 4 separated by a minus sign, a 12x cubed separated by a plus sign, and then a 15x. So we have to look at 3 terms here and see what they have in common. I'm looking at 9, 12, and 15 and see what I can divide each of those numbers by. And I can divide each of them, in this case, by 3. So I'm going to factor 9 to 3 times 3. I'm going to factor 12 to 3 times 4. I'm going to factor 15 to 3 times 5. Now I'm going to break down x to the power 4, which is x, 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 and x, followed by minus sign. X cubed is x times x times x, followed by plus sign. And we have one x here on the last stop. Now, let's take a look at what they have in common here. It's very obvious at this point that these 3 terms have 3 in common. Hence, I can take out the common factor of 3. They have one more x in common. Hence, I can take out an x. Now, I can't take any more x's as this one doesn't have any more x's to take out. So that's where I'm going to stop. At this point, that is your common factor. Now let's take a look at what is left behind. We have 3 xxx minus 4 xx plus 5. And this here is what is left behind. to finish this off, all we gotta do is simplify this right here. So we have a common factor of 3x, and what is left behind is 3, and x times x is x cubed, minus 4, x times x is x squared, plus 5. And we have finished factoring this algebraic expression.